sometimes companies are promoting too much, and sometimes there's some reality behind them. So let's talk about this. AI is not a new concept. It started long time ago, and if everyone remembers, there was the Turing test created by Alan Turing that was an English scientist that helped a lot during the World War. He could decode some secrets from the Germans. I think it was the initial message, it was a salutation, and he was able to get the message partially decoded using his machine. And the Turing test is quite interesting. It was created in the 50s, and the idea was to find a way the human would not distinguish between an interaction between a human and a machine. And the big question today is asking, would Alan Turing pass Turing test? It's difficult to answer. Probably he would be puzzled by the resources and the way it is working today. Back in the 50s, I would say could be easy. At that time, it was mostly mathematics. Right now, we can have dialogue if everyone or anyone has used replica. It's spelled with K. That's an AI friend. You can have dialogues. You can exchange messages. If you go the Paris version, you actually can talk to it. And it's something impressive. It was created by, I think, a Russian person that was few years ago that lost a friend. And to make the memories alive, she created an AI bot and started feeding with loads of information. And suddenly it became a commercial product that's actually very clever. So that's one of the interesting things. People created this idea of robots doing loads of things in the past. Now we have Alexas, we have Google Homes, and there are loads of assistants, and that's becoming very, very present in our lives. So the hype is now becoming quite real for everyone. So remember the days when IBM started the Blue Gene playing chess against Kasparov, and it was the first time it was really humans against machine, and it was the time the computer start having serious capabilities to do something real in AI. The limitation between 1950s and the late 90s and 2000s is mainly computing power. Cloud is not a requirement to run AI, but it needs loads of power computers. And that was the limitation. So IBM used its own hardware. It was like almost unlimited power. And it was the first real step to do something. Nowadays, with all the cloud resources we have at our disposal, loads of APIs, now that's real and that's very easy, very simple to do things. And even we don't need to train all the models to do that. When you get, let's say, Amazon or Google, they're pre-trained models for a number of tasks. And that makes a lot easier to create and develop some AI concepts. In the gaming world, that was probably one of the easiest way to do this sort of experiments, and humans against machines, and brought loads of interesting outputs. And it was really the beginning of a new era. So everyone is familiar with OpenAI, the Dota 2 game. It was really a changer because at that stage, humans discovered how powerful the bots were, and they were learning more and more from the pro gamers. And some of them discovered it was really hard to get something out of the game in terms of winning. So it was really the intersection points between what we people were trying to do and what actually could be delivered. So now moving to what we do on a daily basis, especially when you're talking about GitLab, there are loads of things we can do. And when you think about coding, one part is important is going to be what you can do with AI leverage power. The idea is speed up the development of code, but it's not about writing only. We can do loads of other steps. We can guarantee, for instance, the code is safe. We can use AI to analyze the code and understand exactly what's going on. We can find, for instance, flaws in the code and also suggest the fixes. And we can get monitoring, for instance. We have baseline alerts in the monitoring tools, like any modern one is going to do that. And we can, most important, predict, let's say, hard drive that fails every 6,000 hours. And now we have an array of them, and some of them are old, and the AI is going to find, okay, in the last 5 years, we had this failure at this point, so better to have a look on the drive, and we have some spare, and if something fails, we are ready to go. So that's one important thing, is learning and applying this on the daily experience. That's going to be one powerful use. So that brings us to GitLab Duo. It's a set of capabilities in GitLab. I'm going to share some ideas here. And let's see what's about.
AI inspires possibility. For us, it's the possibility to help everyone be more productive and more efficient, no matter their role. We want to help you build more secure software faster together. Introducing GitLab Duo, your pair programming assistant, and more. For developers, GitLab Duo helps increase productivity and efficiency using generative AI that suggests code as development happens, predicting and completing lines of code, defining and generating logic for function declarations, generating tests, and suggesting common code like regex patterns. Code suggestions helps developers stay in flow. And we walk the talk for security and compliance. Our privacy-first approach helps enterprises adopt GitLab Duo code suggestions while protecting their intellectual property. No trade-offs. Code suggestions does not use your proprietary code as training data, and development is just the start. GitLab Duo is AI for every part of the DevSecOps lifecycle, with capabilities like discussion summary that helps everyone get on the same page faster, suggested reviewers that help find the right people to review merge requests, vulnerability explanation and resolution that support more secure code, chat that offers real-time support for everyone across the software development lifecycle, and value stream forecasting that predicts productivity metrics and identifies anomalies. GitLab Duo is for all. It's the power to create, test, secure, and streamline your software development and deployment processes. Together, we're building the future of AI-powered DevSecOps. It's software faster. AI inspires possibility. For us, it's the possibility to...
Yep. So that's the vision, and that's not science fiction anymore. It's not even what people thought that would be possible in 1950s. So that's for real. That's what we're going to practice and learn the art of possible here. So the idea now, we are going to have our hands-on exercises, and that's going to be the fun part of it. That's going to be the bulk of this workshop. And that's going to unlock the potential and help you to get loads of fun with that one. So the idea here, with all these capabilities, we are going to accelerate your production cycle. So let's say from an idea on a napkin paper to production, that's going to be simpler because we are bringing more people to the table, we are sharing information, and we are leveraging, for instance, the summaries, we are helping to get your merge requests done or your issues, creating templates or getting all the job done. An important thing here, as it was mentioned in the video, your data is yours. Your prompts are yours. The output is yours. We are not using that to train models, and these outputs are discarded once they are done. So we are not doing like, say, the next Samsung of life that was trying to use something, and the next day the loads of information starts leaking. So that's the privacy first. We have the privacy portal. There's loads of information there, how we are keeping your information safe and keeping yours. That's the important thing here. And we are not using a single model. That's important. We are going to find in some place we use, for instance, Anthropic, and some place we use Google. And that's going to be the right model for the right task. It's not one size fits all. And that's one of the differentiators that plays really well with GitLab. And one important thing here, it was talk about code generation, code suggestions. Most of the developers, they spend time, most of the time, doing other things other than coding. Because sometimes we are trying to fix problems, let's say patching an application or fixing a bug or doing other work, understanding somebody else's code to fix it. And that's time consuming and it's difficult. And especially when you find bugs, let's say a nasty CVE, it takes loads of time to understand. For instance, it is, let's say, null pointer in Java that was breaking the application. Now, where's the pointer referenced? Where are going to look this in the code? So the loads of trade-offs you need to do on a daily basis to be productive. And once you have these problems on the table, it takes a while to do. So when you have AI, faster coding is one of the pieces of this puzzle. The idea here, we are going to have other parts, and that's where GitLab is going to make a huge difference here. And because we are talking about a platform, not a point solution, let's say, I know here ChatGPT, for instance, that can generate loads of outputs. We are doing this through the DevOps cycle. And the idea is to bring people to the table. We can share information with security teams, with other teams, for instance, the project management or product owners, and we are going to leverage the power of a full platform. And that's where we're going to spend more time, share information, collaborating, and being more productive, because now it's not confined to the walls of development anymore. And now everyone can collaborate, be faster. And at the end of the day, what you want is to generate applications that generate revenue, or at least, let's say, in a free application that gets advertising or another form of money generating, because we are trying to do something profitable for the companies. So one of the things GitLab discovered in the survey, it's quite interesting. The developers spend too much time doing other things, so you can get the survey in the QR codes and find how it was surveyed, what was the outcome, and that's important one. As developers, we don't want to burn our brains and our time doing something that's repetitive, that's boring, and especially fixing somebody else's codes when we actually can have something that help us to understand exactly what's going on. We're going to see, for instance, explain this vulnerability or explain these codes. That's going to be fantastic when you have, for instance, interns or junior developers, somebody joining the company. That's going to make a huge difference, especially in terms of productivity. They can get up to speed much faster. So how does it work in GitLab? We have the chat that's going to be the interactive part of it, and we are going to have much more. So when you are using, for instance, the code suggestions or creating the test case, that's going to be valuable use of time. That's going to be a way to accelerate. It's not only producing codes. And then when you start doing, for instance, the explain codes, it's like you can even do that in the GitLab CI file, understanding what's that about. So you can bring any different part of the application. And one of the things we notice in GitLab or any collaboration platform, a lots of comments. People love to express ideas, to share what they know. And sometimes it looks more like an essay than a technical document. Sometimes people start even going off topic and start going too far from the core subject. When you do the summaries, that's going to bring people to the core subject again and make sense of loads of things there. One of the things I tested that, and it was quite interesting, it was testing the lorem ipsum and getting some noise in my text saying, putting some, let's say, no sense stuff. And it was surprisingly the way GitLab filtered that. It was very, very impressive. So I was creating a merge request with loads of comments that was getting from CVs, from reports. It was a vulnerability. and then I got some noise, and GitLab did a great job filtering that. And then we can also leverage this on the CI, for instance, when you are trying to fix problems. And also when you look CVs, for instance, that's one of the things when I get the reports in GitLab, I don't try to understand the CVs. I just go, I know there's one that's public, the records are there. And what I'm trying to do is understand, okay, there's one. Okay, great. I explain the codes and I can get people who understand a specific part of the application, get suggested reviewers. There you go. We go to the next step. That's the way accelerating the cycle. And because we are doing summaries here, we are always bringing people to the original intents of a specific merge request or an issue and understand exactly what's happening here. So I can do this and make everyone happier and understand exactly what's going on. And that's one of the interesting things here. When you talk about the likes of ChatGPT or Google Gemini, you're talking about code generation. And that's the difference between one point solution that helps us to understand exactly where to go. But in GitLab, we do a lot more than this. So every green part here is one part of the platform that's helping to achieve something. When having an epic, that's a big body of work. Let's say we are going to generate the version 2 of our application. And now there's an epic that says we are going to rebrand and create, let's say, a new color scheme. So this epic is going to be broken down in loads of issues or sub-epics. And now people started commenting, we want to enable single sign-on with a nice color scheme, some new logos, new backgrounds. It's going to be like in React. And we are going to generate here a summary for every part. Because at some stage, people start just getting like, almost like the model, sometimes hallucinating. And that's going to be a distraction when you're trying to focus on what's important. So Epic Summary is going to help a lot. And also in the issues, same story. Sometimes we get too much noise. We want to filter out, get people back on track, and get what's important. And then the fun starts when you are trying to do something in the code itself. So you get like code suggestions, we can generate codes, and we are going to get the summaries, and we are going to get everything like in a simpler way to make this. But then, let's say fixing a bug or maybe reviewing somebody else's code, I don't have a clue. Let's say I have a very funny regex in Java, and now I have something mixed up, and I don't have a clue what's going on. So if I do code explanation, that's going to be very helpful, especially if somebody else's code. Or if there's somebody that's as old as me, I don't hide this fact, that ever use Perl language. There was kind of Olympic Games who can write the most of obscure codes. When I look that code today, that was back in 90s. When I look this code today, even with all the comments I put, I have no idea what was there. So that's one of the fun things when you look our own code a few years later, sometimes difficult to follow. When you look somebody else's code, even more difficult. So code explanation is going to be our good friend here. Then you can get the test generation. That's going to be automation test. That's going to be extremely helpful. And once we have everything done, that's one important part here that's going to make a huge difference. When you have the pipeline that's building, we are going to run a number of scanners. That's going to be a static analysis, that's fast. We're going to find any API tokens left because nobody wants to be the next LastPass that's by accident. And that's important to emphasize here. I'm not using this in a bad intent. It was a very innocent mistake. Somebody committed a API token in a public repo and somebody else noticed, took advantage of that, and next hours or day, don't remember exactly, it was August 2022, billions, passwords, usernames, emails, personal information, everything came on the dark web. Loads of them also came on the normal web, and it was really terrible for LastPass. They didn't handle the situation very well, and it happened again in December. by a different reason. That's the risk, and that's what we do. We can do secret detection, for instance, and invalidate those tokens, send a notification, keep everything safe. So we are going to do that scan. We are going to scan, for instance, infrastructure as a code. We are going to do dynamics analysis, test APIs, for instance, and we are going to make sure what's ready to release is actually safe. Because nobody likes to do penetration tests. It's already too late. When you talk about AI tools, it's important to remember there's something called warm GPT and also the fraud GPT, which is spin-offs of ChatGPT with malicious intents. I tried once and I asked it to exploit one specific Windows vulnerability. As funny thing, even though it was intended to generate that code, it says this request is so dangerous, we cannot disclose that. We can go, they suggested some place in the dark web, said that's where you can start searching, but that's not going to be even for a tool that's intended to be malicious. It is not anything we can afford to take that risk. So it was very, very interesting experiment. So the idea here, when you are releasing codes, please keep in mind, and I cannot emphasize enough, please keep in mind while you're generating things with AI, there's somebody else trying to do exactly the same way using malicious intents. And that's so important to keep the scanners really running when you are committing the codes. Scan, 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 make sure the code is clean, code is safe before anything goes, even to pre-production. And then when it go live, everything is validated and everything is safe. So at the end, we have all this collaboration, code goes live, and you have everything running in a very clean state. So that's where we are playing with GitLab. We are going to get all this core functionality during the workshop, and we are going to have loads of fun with that. Okay, just to wrap up, your code is yours. There's nobody else's codes. And we have a very clear policy about that. It can be in the privacy portal and also in our privacy statements. That's very clear. We discard the information once it's generated, and we keep it safe for you. So where do we get started here? So the idea is being proactive. It's not only being fast, it's being fast with guardrails, and we want to keep everyone producing code faster, collaborating faster, and also keeping everyone safe. So the idea here, we are going to get GitLab runners and speeding up the process and finding out everything that's going on. So that's important here. When you are collaborating, people need to be on the same page. Fantastic. We are ready to get started, as we are going to get this, going to stop my screen sharing. Now we are going to have the fun with the workshop.
Hello, can you hear me? Sorry, because I was trying to share the sentence that I was trying to talk. So please, can you, Breno, or somebody in the chat validate that you can hear me well?
Loud and clear.
Perfect stuff. Thank you very much. So as Breno said, thank you very much, by the way, for your presentation. And that's, let's say, the most like hands-on part. We're basically gonna within a controlled environment, let's say. And as Breno already said, you will have 2 days of basically you'll have this account, you have written code which you're supposed to have already submitted previously. And then at the end, we're going to transfer all the work you have done into your own group, if you have any group, or your account, so the work don't get deleted. Perfect stuff. So let me just move forward. yeah, it's a hands-on exercise. So let's move. First of all, what I'm gonna ask you to do is to go in. I'm gonna try to be very slowly to make sure that everybody is following the steps. So the first thing we have to do is you have to go and click and go through this project, this website. So let me try probably to or leave my colleague. Yeah, thank you very much, Logan. He's quite fast on that. So you have to go through the link that my colleague Logan has already shared, and then you will end up in a project. I'm most likely gonna share so you can see it. I think it's better to do it that way. Yep, here. That's the so if you click on the link that my colleague Logan shared, you're most likely gonna see that on your screen. So once we get here, which I believe all of you are already, you will see this project. And then I'm gonna ask you, all of you, to go into this icon here, the fork, and then we're gonna hit the fork button. That makes sense. I'm gonna just show you how to do it, the steps, but I'm not gonna do it, mainly because I have already done it before. I'm not gonna replicate. And then you should land in something in a web, I mean, in a screen like this, which basically says standard key arrays. It has to say GitLab Learn Lab, sample project, and key erasing, and then fork projects. The important part comes right now here when we go to the project URL. So you remember when you went before you redeemed your code, you landed in something like that. It says my test group, and then you have here code. We'll give you a few seconds to go back to that screen for the ones who didn't have it like in another tab. Anyways, you should have received also like an email with the new group, that you got access to the new group. So what we are gonna do is we're gonna copy that code, I mean this group, this project, and then we're gonna go back to our fork and search here the name. And then this one will basically suggest us the GitLab Learn Labs environment session and then our session. So what we are going to do here is we're going to click on that one. And then as you can see, the project Slack will be the same. We keep everything exactly the same way as it is right now. And then we hit on the fork projects. As I said, I'm not going to do it because I already have that. But click on it, and then I will give you a few seconds to see if everything is okay from your end. But you should have received, you should have not received, sorry, you should have like got something like this. Which basically is the previous group you had before, and then it's the Tanukir Racing. If you are here, then all good, everything great. Now the next thing we have to do is once we got into that project, we have to go to settings. We have to go to general. We go all the way down to advanced. And then here, sorry, apologies, I just clicked on the group level. It has to be in the project level. We have to go into the project. Remember that it has to be under your group. Okay, my test group, and then the code you got, and then make erase. Once you're there, you go to settings, you go again to general. Once we go here, we just land, we scroll down to get to advanced. And most likely I'm not gonna get it, but for the ones who haven't done it yet, you will have a block like this, basically red, says remove fork relationship. So once you get there, you click on the remove fork relationship, and then it will ask you to validate that you really want to remove it. And then you click accept. Just want to know from the chat if everything is going well. Please hit some messages like yes, thumbs up. Oh, good, very good. I like that. Yes, you asked me to repeat. I will repeat again from the fork or the remove relationship. So I repeat again, you fork it, then you will land in that page. Of course, it will have your own code, so it's unique. Then you go to the Tanuki Racing project. You click on this. Then we go to settings. Let me a second because I'm trying to help here. Done. We go to the settings. We go to the general section. And then we scroll all the way down to advanced. We click on advanced. And here, for the ones who doesn't have it, we'll have like a section, which is remove fork relationship. Then you click on the remove fork relationship. You will validate, it will ask you to put the project name. You just add it there and you click accept, and automatically the project will be, the relationship will be removed. Great stuff. So let's go back again to the project, to repository here. So the next step here is to go to the folder where you have all the instructions of the workshop, because I want to make sure that sometimes I understand it's difficult to hear me while you're trying to do it. So you would like to have the instructions like properly set in your screen. Imagine you want to have another tab. My recommendation would be have a tab open with a project and then have another tab with what I'm going to show you right now. If you're ready, let's go for it. In the project we got, remember my test group, the group code that you have, the repository group they have, and then Tanuki Racing. Not the other one. I just want to stress, because we had so many issues before that people were trying to do that in this project. This one, you can just completely remove it, forget it, close it. We don't need it anymore. We stay in our own group. Then we go to the folder, courses, workshops. And then since we are doing AI, we click here on the AI part. And then the first one, the one modern development with GitLab AI. Great stuff. I hope that all of you have landed here. If so, then good job. Then the workshop is starting right now. I'm gonna just probably skip most of the introductions because it's something that Brenna already did before. So let me just go straight into it. So the first thing I'm gonna do, let me just move a bit the different icons. The first thing we're gonna do here is introduce you to the GitLab Duo chat. And I believe that's what Brenna was trying really to talk. It was let's say right now everything is centered by our GitLab Duo chat. I just want to mention that we are still like working a lot and improving the output of our GitLab Duo chat. Still it's in like experimental phase. We are making it improvements. Things are getting better compared with a few months back. The result is way better. But if something is happening right now, so apologies. It's just that we are playing around it while we are doing this workshop. So it can happen that it doesn't really behave as we expect. But yeah, cool. So most of you should have like a button here. It says GitLab Duo chat. So the first thing back in the days, I mean, we also have it here, but recently we have moved it into like the top bar in the right side. So you have either ways. You can go to the help button and then GitLab Duo chat, or we can just go straight into the GitLab Duo chat in here. It will open this lovely bar in the side. So the first thing I'm gonna do is click one of these questions that we got. As you can see, I'm trying to follow every single thing steps mentioned here. So I'm gonna click on the how do I change my password. That's something I don't really like, the how to change my password. I'm gonna click on the one a bit more difficult, which is how do I create a template. You can ask whatever you want, but of course it gives you some examples. You can ask from, for example, this one, which is what can you do something with GitLab? Let's imagine you want to create a template, you want to create a CI template, you want to create a policy, whatever you want, you can ask that question. At some point, we are eventually, if I'm not mistaken, adding some documentation into that chat, so you can ask things over there. So it's a quite versatile chat here. As you can say, it's telling us what to do. You have to create a group, then you can create new groups, and over there you can check if the project that you want to create has to be created based on a template or not, and things like that. So it gives you a lot of information. What happens sometimes we want to clear the cache. Let's say used to call it the cache, but we can call it the historical data that we have sent, we ask. So everything here, it works with some commands. So we can reset. So we're basically saying to our AI that forgets all the context, the previous context, and we are starting a new fresh session. And let's clean. As you can see, it's very common. It's very like similar to what we got from the command line. Second part here. So if all of you have done that before, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do it by yourself, to ask as many questions as you want. So you make sure that the GitLab Duo is working as expected before moving into the second time. So the question about the different languages, you mean, I'm not sure if you're talking about programming languages or you're talking about spoken languages like English, German, French, Spanish, and things like that. The spoken one, you can try it. Officially, it's not. It supports English, but since I'm Spanish, I used to sometimes to write in Spanish to see how does that work, and it worked. But again, GitLab is really training the model with English, not with other languages. While you're playing around with the chat, just gonna make sure that you have actually to enable the AI features, but not right now. We have already done that before. It should be already enabled for every single person, and all the AI features are listed experimental and must be turned on in the group level by an owner. So not everybody can just turn it on. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. One of the things that I also want to make sure that the code suggestions is also working if you're using like your own IDE, let's say VS Code, you use IntelliJ or something in your local machine, it's also working. So you can use that feature not only in our platform, but also you can use it in your own IDE. Perfect. As it says, alternative, you can ask this kind of questions. Right now, we're just gonna skip that. So my other recommendation right now is to keep that tab open, and let's open another one because I want you always to have these instructions here open in case you have to revisit it. So in my case, I already have it, so I'm just gonna close it again, but I think it will be easier for you. So the first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna create an issue. So in order to create an issue, we are gonna do here, plan, issues, then you will land in this page. Here it says import issues, new issues. So we're gonna create a new issue here. And here I'm gonna create security for CI/CD. Just got blocked CI/CD. We keep it in the same as a type issue description, and then we will land into this description, which is basically a text box. It says write a description or drag your files here. And there is a nice Tanuki logo. The Tanuki is the logo of GitLab. If it doesn't show up, it's because you're checking the other, like the text, the rich text editing, which it doesn't have it. But if you click here and switch to plain text editing, automatically you will have this icon here. It says AI actions. You don't press it yet. Just keep it as it is. So the first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna write, and as you probably saw already in the description, secure our CI/CD. No, sorry, we are not gonna do that. I'm gonna click on it, and I'm gonna click on generate issue description. And here it's telling me a prompt. What do I want the AI to do for me? So here I'm gonna ask him to do basically secure our CI/CD pipeline and fix the newfound vulnerabilities. That's one of the words for me that I'm not native English speaker. It's one of the most difficult like words to pronounce. So I have already done that. If I click submit, the AI system will magically work and create that description. I don't think it's the same for every single person. So you might have certain changes, and that's the beauty, I believe, of AI, right? That not everybody gets exactly the same thing, but at the end we are getting a nice output. So here I'm gonna basically switching back to the rich text editor, and we see that it's the issue, summary, and the description. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. Not minutes, but probably seconds. I want a minute to do it. I'm gonna be a bit annoying from time to time, and I'm gonna ask you for a thumbs up when it's done. Yeah, probably Daniel, if you go back here into the switch to plain text editing, you're most likely gonna see it here. For the ones who are already, it's working for you, please thumbs up. Thank you, Nataila. Thank you, Jean Baptiste. Thank you. Very good. Like to see that coming. Then I'm gonna probably ask my colleagues, either Bren or Logan, to help you, Daniel, to see that why it doesn't show up. Cool. Let's move on. Easy. We just click here. Create issue. Quite easy. I think it's the easiest step on the whole workshop. And then we got this lovely issue with security for CI, with all the information here, all the data. We can assign this one to ourselves. Done. Okay. So with that done, we have already created the first part of the workshop. We have different several parts. But now we have to execute a pipeline. That's actually the second part of the workshop, and we're gonna run our own pipeline. So what I'm gonna do is gonna go back again to our repo. We get to that our repository where basically you have all the files. And then for the ones who doesn't know, I'm just gonna let you know all the pipelines at GitLab are based in a YAML file, and it's in this file, which is the .gitlab /ci.yaml. So here has all this information. Let's go back. So you can either update this file, or we can do something which is the pipeline editor. So we go to build and pipeline editor. So we click here, and then automatically will open that, which is the pipeline right now. Good stuff. If you have reached that point, very good job. Now we go back again to the instructions we got. And if you go to the running our pipeline section here, you will have a huge like YAML file text format. So what we have to do is we have to copy and paste the entire thing, as I'm doing right now. Going back again to the pipeline editor and paste it here, the entirety. We just overwrite. See, suddenly we have a bunch of templates that we have been using that before we didn't have. It's because GitLab also allows to use templates with pipelines, so we don't really have to have everything in one single file. We can distribute them in many different pipeline files, YAML files, and then include them. So as you can see, most of them are already included here. And recently also, which is not related to this workshop, but I think it's for your information, we also allow something called catalog, which is a more like let's say is the next step of templates. I would like to encourage you to go and check for this new feature, which is already in our platform. Cool. Hope that you all did that already. We have created this pipeline. Then we go down to here. So we have already the updated GitLab.ci file. Okay, if it's done, perfect. Let's commit. And now the pipeline should be running. So let's wait a little bit. So we can go to the pipeline, which is here on the right side, view pipeline. We click on that one, and we see that a bunch of things are happening. Okay, so we will get back to it. We will keep it, we will leave it here running. As I said, it's the only pipeline we have right now running. That's the first one. So we will go back again to the repository. I will give you a couple of minutes to do it by yourself before moving forward. Perfect, very good. Very good, thank you very much. Yes, the build will fail. It's a spoiler, it shouldn't work. Actually, it will fail one of these steps. So if it failed for you, very good. Yeah, apologies, that's something I forgot to say. In case you don't want to copy and paste, there is a branch, and I'm going to show it to you. Going back again to the project. There is a branch here. If you click on branches main, you go to AI slash or dash, sorry, main. And this branch already has the new updated pipeline. But I prefer to use the main so we can go and check it. But yeah, for the ones who already checked, finished that, we go here to pipelines. We click on the pipeline status, which is running right now. And if you did all the job properly, it should fail. That's expected behavior, failure. So we're just moving forward quite fast. So let's go for the let's go to see why we made it, why here Logan made it fire, made it to fail. Yeah, you're right, Jean Baptiste. I think there are not so many times where we are happy about seeing our pipelines failing. It's the first time. But luckily, the reason why we're doing that is to make sure that it's fixed and how the AI can help you to fix that. So we're gonna basically help you, or AI, not me. The AI will help us should help us to basically troubleshoot that. So we click on the build, the one which is failed, and yeah, we see here like a few things happening, and we don't really know what's going on. It just failed exit 127, and yeah, usually what the first thing you do is try to copy and paste on Google, try to find something on Stack Overflow, and spending a couple of hours trying to find what is the problem. So that's why we likely have something called AI for this specific purpose. So let's move on into the troubleshooting part. So it failed, it doesn't really work, and it's actually the apt list dash install which is failed. Luckily, we do have something here which is root cause analysis button, just on top of the next to the search log. So what we can do is click here. And then it will open what is code rows analysis. It will tell us what it does, how it works, what are the third-party AI providers that we are using. So basically, as Bernard said before, we really take seriously like all the data and compliance. So before even generating anything, we'll let you know what you're doing and how is it used. So let's click on here. So let's say the job failed because the apt command was not found in the container. So what happened here? It's basically the command, it doesn't really exist. So what we have to do is we go back again the pipeline. For you basically see that. I just wanted to let you some time to digest that. Okay. When it's done, we have to fix it. And the way we fix that is usually go into the pipeline editor here, click on it, and we have to fix the mess we have made. And to be fair, that's the fix I like the most, usually, because how do we actually fix that problem? Because the problem is that command doesn't exist. And again, just take it as it's a workshop. We're trying to show you how is the capabilities. So I don't think that will be the solution for every single of your, all your problems. But the best solution ever is just to highlight these 2 lines, look at them, and then remove them. That's how we actually. That's how actually we can make it work. Perfect. Now, as you have done that already, we commit changes. So I'm gonna pause for a minute because I see that some people are having problems on the chat. For the ones who are doing well, I will give you a couple of minutes so you can have a water. And once you're back, you can see what is the result of the pipeline. For the ones who worked, please thumbs up to make sure that everything is going well. Very good. Sebastian is really positive. Nice to see that. And everybody else is there. Very nice. My colleague Logan and Brenda will be helping people who is not having this thing working. Yeah, while they are taking the glass of water, drink, whatever they need, I'm going to repeat the last 2 steps. So once we go back to the pipeline, because we already copied and pasted everything on our editor, it failed because it should fail. We get the build job failed. Everything else, it's still running or pending, but this one is the most important one. We click on build, the failed one. And then up here, we have root cause analysis. We click on that one and it will open us that bar here. And it's telling us that the problem is because it doesn't really work. I mean, this command doesn't exist. It's not installed. It's not existing. So we either add a path, and the path usually is because you have to install it already in your environment, or because you don't need it. That's what happened. So the solution was to go back again to the pipeline editor here. And in the line 33, 34, which was basically here before script, we have to delete that. We commit, and then we have the pipeline again. And we see that this is running. This is like a movie. We're just expecting. If it fails, then we didn't do our job properly. If it's not working, if it's working, that we did like the AI did the work. Let's give it some time. While we are waiting, I'm going to do something. I'm going to ask more things to the GitLab Duo chat. So we're going to open again the GitLab Duo chat. We have to treat the GitLab Duo chat as our friend. I don't know if most of you have heard about the rubber duck technique, which is having someone next to you to try to explain what is wrong. And while you're explaining it, you start understanding what is the issue. So instead of having a colleague next to you, you usually have a rubber duck. Right now, we don't even need to have something physically. We just need our GitLab Duo chat next to us, and then you can just chat. Now, I'm not sure how good is it with conversations, but I believe that for IT-related stuff, it's really good. So let's ask the question here, because I want to ask our chat if it's good at or helping me to create the GitLab, CI file, YAML. So here, configure file. I'm just copying and pasting what is already on the guide. So you can do the same. Create a .gitlab ci.yaml configure configuration file for testing and building a Ruby Sinatra application in a GitLab CI CD pipeline. Just gonna put here Ruby and Sinatra because are done. While our friend here, GitLab Duo Chat, is giving us a response, we can see that the build right now passed. So the solution, our problem was basically to delete the command that it wasn't really needed over there. For the ones who made it, very good job, congratulations. Thank you for following me. And now we're gonna move forward. I'm just gonna wait to see what does our GitLab Duo Chat friend says here before moving forward. Yeah, so as you can see here, it's giving us and telling us what to do. As I said, it's taking, we are still like working on improving our chat. Every day, every month, every week, we are actually making improvements on that one. But as you can see, it's actually creating the proper file. Good thing is the historical thing is over there, so it won't be deleted. So yeah, that's what it gave me. That's actually a test. Again, it's a template, it's something that you can use as a starting point, not really a production ready, but a starting point for our pipeline. Good, very good, very good, very good. Now I'm curious to see if the container scanning fails. I know it's not gonna fail, but just out of curiosity, let's see what happens. Yes, passed everything. Good job, all of you. So now with a well-deserved reward, we will go back again to our Tanuki Racing project. Remember that you can go here either to the breadcrumb Tanuki Racing, which goes to the project. Here we'll go to the group, but this one to the project, or you can go to code and repository. Either way works. Once we get here, we are gonna go to the lib folder. We go to the Tanuki Racing folder, not the file, but the folder. And then we're gonna open the app file. So you can see it's just a Sinatra, I mean, it's a Ruby file, which it does a lot of things. I believe it's storing things in database. It's an API, which basically you can retrieve all the people, leaderboard, you can change, then the board, things like that. But for me, that I'm not really an expert of Ruby, I would like to have a documentation because nobody wrote documentation. If you go back again to the previous part, we don't have any README, it doesn't say anything. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to GitLab Duo Chat, and we're gonna ask the question. Write documentation for app.ruby. So we wait a little bit to see what does our system do, and here is telling us, yeah. So basically it's reading our repo, the file we have here opened, and it's gonna tell us what does it do. So the application setup, the routes, what kind of things are required for this application and things like that. So we can actually go and create documentation based on that one. I encourage you to do it, to do exactly the same or similar thing to see how it works. But basically the context that the chat is taking is from the screen or the file that you have opened. Good stuff. Okay, did you go properly to the same, to the my test group, Tanuki Race, and then you have to have the file open. If it doesn't, I will recommend you to do like a clean /clean, which is here, clean, reset. Yeah, okay, second time worked. Yeah, this is like a computer. If it does, I mean, the first principle of a computer science usually is if it doesn't work, restart it. If the second time when you restart doesn't work, then there is a problem. Perfect. I mean, I will just encourage you to play around with that and ask as many questions as you want. Like if you want basically we will do more things, but just if you want to know more things about how it works or things like that, it will basically help me. Yeah, that's a really good thing. Keep in mind that AI, it's not something static. It doesn't mean because you and I or we are asking the same question, it will give us exactly the same output. The output is based on the context. It's based on the basically different variables that I can't really tell you exactly what are those variables that it's using. But we might be using exactly the same text, but we get not completely, but different output. One time can give you, for instance, the usage of the application. Other time will tell you, for example, what we saw in my case, the routes and dependencies. So what happens? AI is really important. The feedback, the input that we're giving it. If you're really specific, because in my case I was quite open. I just said write me documentation. I didn't say what kind of documentation. Is it like functionality wise? Is it like more about dependencies? Is it more about the frameworks that he's using? No, I just said write something. So the AI will basically do that. Pick the first answer. I think it's valid. If you really want more accurate, then you have to be very more specific. Cool. Very good, very good. So we finished, let's say, the pipeline part, the running our pipeline in GitLab. So now I'm gonna move a little bit into the analyze part of, let's say, the security part, the vulnerabilities part. So first of all, you have to make sure all of you by the time, because I'm just speaking a lot, to make sure that you, first of all, you don't get bored. And second thing, everything is guided and you understand what we're doing. You have to, all of you have at least one, the last, not one, at least no, has to be the last pipeline passed, green, all of them. So if you click on it, we have the 2 stages green, passed, click on that one, and all the jobs here has to be green. If not, then basically there's something happening and we probably need support on that. As you can see here, also since we have different scanners like the code quality, security scanning, things like that. It will show you different information like the code quality, licenses, here the security part. So the output of the security scanners and code quality scanners will also show up in a pipeline level. I will recommend you to spend some time to understand a little bit like the different information given us here. We can retrieve, I mean, the test, we don't have any test running right now, but in the term security, we can see here all the different scanners and how many vulnerabilities per scanner do we have. But for instance, like 149 vulnerabilities, 2000 vulnerabilities on the container scanning. We can even download like the different results, things like that. We can filter them here. We can create the issues straight or dismiss a vulnerability straight from this screen. If you're using the license scanning, same thing, similar thing, and code quality, similar thing. But that's actually not what I wanted to show you. Once we are clear with all this information, I would like to go to the secure part, which is here on the bar, the left bar, and then we go to the vulnerability report. Voila, here we do have a screen with all the vulnerability reports. I mean, so all the vulnerabilities together of that specific, to get that specific, of the specific repository. Okay, we also have the same report on a group level, subgroup and things like that. Right now, we are gonna hit the one on the repo to see what we've got here. So we've got a lot of container scanning. I mean, I can just filter them out, but here we have a different scanners. Yeah, we can just basically click into, I can basically click into any of them. For instance, this one. It give you a lot of information like token leads, container issues, and things like that. But we have a specific issue that we want to check. So what I'm gonna do is the statuses, we have to go all, severity low, and tool, we're gonna pick SAST. And here we have one single vulnerability. I repeat again, severity low, tool SAST, and everything else has to be all statuses. Then you will have this. For the ones who have it already, let's gonna click on that, and it will open that screen. And here will give us more information about how to fix the problem. First of all, this specific screen does have nothing to do with AI, by the way. This is basically our security scanners. For the ones who probably gonna ask, no, it's not a third-party company that we are integrating. No, it's something that we are working on. It's our, it's embedded in our platform. Here, basically, it's showing us the severity, where the project is happening, everything is happening, the tools, the scanner that was used, the method that actually is failing, and then we can even go into the line of code if we click, that it's happening, which is here. Cool. That's really cool. But then we have a really nice button here. It says explain vulnerability. And here is when the AI comes. So this feature is a picture we try to explain, and not just to fix, but also to explain how would like a vulnerability affect our systems. And I will give you an example. I am not really strong on security. I don't have a really strong security background. And for me, sometimes I struggle when they tell me there's a vulnerability to understand the reason why there is a vulnerability. Why is something harmful, let's say. This system will tell you. But before that, I'm going to show you the show prompt, which is a feature I like pretty much because we are basically showing you what we are sending to our AI system. What is asked? Where are we asking to, let's say, the GitLab Duo chat? It's a text telling to the chat, this is the text, this is the issue we're facing, and that's what we want. So we have to be very specific on what you're looking for. That's why I just want to like circle back again on the input that we're giving. It's really important for AI to give the right input, the right context. And I believe we as a human beings, we struggle sometimes to do that because we assume or we pre-assume that we all know. And it's true. I mean, we all of us, we have experience. We have worked already in IT for several years. So we already know some problems. You don't have really to tell me how a computer works. But for AI, treat it as a small kid who just learned how to use a laptop. So you have to really explain. It's a really smart kid, let's say, but you have to really give it like a really good explanation to give you a really good input. And after this speech, I'm just click on display vulnerability. So pretty similar. It will open the right bar and it will give us some information. First of all, where it was found, this problem, what is the vulnerability code, and actually how can be used. And the equal one, I think, in one of the most popular hacks, at least if you have learned at the beginning with doing some tutorials on SQL, that's one of the first thing that they tell you, like this one in interpolation of variables. So basically can be executed this, which is, I thought it's not really realistic, but actually it's not the first time I see that happening. Cool. It will open the pop-up here, and then it will give you, let's say, the how to fix it. So it will give you a piece of code telling you instead of using this one, you will have to use this question mark in here. Very good. So what I'm gonna do next, I'm just gonna close. Keep in mind this is the solution. Actually, I'm gonna just store it somewhere so I can revisit again what was the solution, because that's what AI is telling us. But then we have another button here, which basically will actually gonna fix it. So after doing that, after they get an explanation, we're gonna hit on this button, like the resolve with AI experimental, and we just click on it. Cool. So that's what it's doing. It's generating, first of all, a new fresh merge request with a new branch with all the information. It will trigger a pipeline. all like if it's a human being doing it. And then we go to changes. And if we go back again to the solution that we have been, that the AI provided us, it's, I can use this feature. It's actually the same one. I'm just showing you because it happened to me already once that it wasn't the same one. One thing was, it was still the solution, but it can have multiple solutions. So in that case, it's actually giving us the same solution. We see the changes. Cool. We're gonna leave it as it is. We will let the pipeline to finish to see if actually the scanner removed it from the report. If that makes sense. I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to do that, to play around, to read a little bit the description. Thumbs up if you're doing well, if everything is going well for you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Cool. Hope that everything is going well. Thank you all for your thumbs up, for the hearts here too. Thank you very much, Sebastian. Really pleasure to see people really like happy here. Hope you're all learning a lot, or at least a little bit more than yesterday. It's already a big success for us. Cool. So we got here. Now, just for the ones who are like in following also the guide from the README, we are in the section implement the fix. I'm just gonna put it here so you can see it. No, it's actually here. We are here into the implementing the fix section 2. That's what we are doing right now. Perfect. So let me go back here. So as usual, I usually go to the repository. Now I want to make the change, but manually. I really want to change it like in an IDE. But before that, we're gonna go back to our issue. And then we are gonna create that, click on that issue that we have already created at the beginning. And here I'm gonna click on create merge request. We mark it as a draft, we keep it as it is. We don't really have to change anything. Let's keep it as it is. We can summarize the code changes, but right now we are not gonna do that. We're just gonna keep it. Well, let's see. Let's click on it. I like to play around with things. It didn't do anything because there are no code changes. So we keep it as it is and just we create the merge request. Cool. We're here, no changes. One pipeline, it was triggered because it was a new merge request. Merge request contains no changes. Great. So it basically will be stopped. Now, for the ones who didn't know, GitLab also offers like a web IDE. It's where you can actually program. So if you go to code, you can go to open in web IDE. So we're just gonna click in there. And this great UI, great IDE will show up and ready to start changing and playing around and doing whatever we need. Cool. So once we got there, I'm gonna give you like I'm gonna give like 15-20 seconds time for you to go through it and open it. Okay, so we are here. We're gonna go follow lib, which is this folder. You go to Tanuki. racing, and we go to db.rb. And we have this file. You probably are already familiar with that file because it's actually the file where we found the vulnerability, line 42. So in our case, instead of using what we learn, I mean, let's actually, yes, we're gonna use what the resolve this vulnerability or explain me this vulnerability give us. That is the solution. So we just copy that line and we paste that here. If you see in the guide, its difference is it's sanitized by underscore SQL. Either ways work. I mean, you can use one or the one. I would recommend you to use the one that was suggested by code explain this vulnerability to change this code. Make sense? Cool. Very good. This is done. Nothing else happens. So now we can just go and check something else, which is the Tanuki logo here. And guess what? Everything that has a Tanuki logo usually has something related to AI, or at least in this space. Yeah, let me go back again. Somebody asked, how did I open the editor? So once you are in your merge request, the new one that we have created, remember that we created a merge request. You go to code, the blue button here, and then we go to open in web IDE. It will open that. Okay. Perfect. Same thing. But before the bar was here, now it's in the other side, mainly because we are more used to the IDEs to have the bar on the other side. So what we're gonna do here, we are just gonna talk to the AI system to tell us some information. So I'm gonna just go back and leave it as it was, and I'm gonna copy this line, one that has vulnerability, player equals whatever. This is the wrong way. So let's copy the wrong way and ask AI to, can you usually also write, by the way, I don't know if I'm the only one, I write please to I write please to the AI. I know it's not needed, but that's the way I have been told to speak to people. So I usually is like, can you please scan this code snippet for vulnerabilities? Vulnerabilities. Then like this, and then I copy that. And next step is enter and submit. Right now, it's not able to help me. So let me try it again. I think I have been too polite. That's why it doesn't like it. Okay, so right now it's not really helping me. As I said, these kind of things that can happen from time to time, especially during that phase, which is giving us hard times. I can try with another command, which is not the vulnerability itself, but to give me a unit test. Yeah, for that specific case, it works. Okay, so let's say for the that's what the thing that I usually for me is stressful, the AI part, because you don't know what's going to happen. It's more genuine at the end. But as I said, the explain vulnerability right now in the chat didn't really work for me. It might work for you depending on the case. But I asked in that case to give me a unit testing for this specific function, and it actually gave it to me, so I can use it for that purpose. I can do the same thing without even like opening the chat here. So I can just close it. I can just highlight specific line, let's say this one, I can click on the right side and the right side, right click. And then we have the GitLab do a chat. So I can do the same here, generate test, and it's same. It will open the, it will open and it will send me the, it will send the input and it will generate that. But it's not the only thing we do. I can also highlight here. And then we have another option, which is explain me this code. And here we will actually explain me what is that function doing. And the very last one, refactor. Exactly. That's actually the function is giving me. Perfect. So we saw that we, from time to time, it failed, but it failed this time. So we can ensure that AI won't ever take our job because they fail more than us. Hopefully not in a critical ways. But it worked for the rest of the things. And as I said, we can use either this the chat to write things and do exactly the same things we have been doing before, or you can use the shortcuts with the right click to select whatever we need. Now, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna create a new method. So what I'm gonna here, I'm gonna search for the get specific here. I'm gonna give another line, and here we're gonna write a delete leaderboard function using active record. And it should give me that function. I mean, the indentation is wrong, but what the AI did basically based on a comment that they have created here, it took the context of all the entire file with all the variables and names and things like that, and have created already that that file, which basically leaderboard.where ID delete all. Okay, so I will let you do that before moving to the next creation based on AI. By the way, I'm gonna fix in the meanwhile, I'm gonna fix this get specific function by the proper one, so we don't have any leak and we don't introduce any bad code. So remember, you go to this file, you go to the file we are db.rb, we go after the get specific function and we create that comment, right? The delete leaderboard function using active record. I want to see if there are thumbs up or people are getting stuck in that step. Thank you. Very good, very good. Perfect. So now we're gonna add another thing. So now we're gonna go to another file. Let's go to explore. We're gonna go to the same lib, but instead of that database, we're gonna go to app.rb. And we're gonna add a new delete route. Here we do have a lot of things. So I'm gonna go to the last route. I'm gonna put another comment, and it will be, yeah, Manuel Rica. I'm gonna do it again. It's similar. So go here. We do, because in Ruby that's the way you comment, and then I write here, write a post route that calls the delete leader function from Tanuki Racing DB. And it's done. this one should actually use the function that we have created previously. So if you go to, as you can see here, where's basically it's the post, delete leader, it's parsing the player and everything, and it should match with, actually didn't really use the full name, but it should match with the what's the name, with the function that we have created in the previous file. So here should be leaderboard and not leader. So you can see similar to what the other functions are doing. You have to have the similar situation. You basically, if once you do that, it should create a similar case. Keep in mind that whenever you're writing, writing something, there is a Tanuki, like if you can see here, Tanuki icon that is showing up. That means that the system is working. It's trying to find a response. Cool. And then I'm gonna do the very last thing. So now we're gonna go to lib. We're gonna create a new class. You're gonna go to lib, to the Tanuki race. In here, we are gonna create a new file called calc.rp. Once we do that, we have already a file in this folder. And same thing, just gonna here define a calculator class for other functions to use. This one should create a class, full class. As you can see, it will create as a class, calculator, self-add, all at the basic like operation for the calculator. And well, it usually uses okay, people tell me that I'm going too fast. I'm gonna try to go a little bit slower here. As I said, we have to go to the lib, to the Tanuki folder, and then we go to the file. Then the only thing we have to do is to create a comment. I mean, in this, as I said, in Ruby, the language, the way to create a comment is using hashtag, and then you just write what you want to do. So here I'm just saying define a calculator class for other functions to use. That's what I'm doing, just writing a simple comment. And then you have to press tab to basically accept the code. Or in some cases, you even have to basically press the enter button. So it will give you the information. So we have created already this function. Again, you can play around. You can create another functions. Here we can define a Fibonacci. I don't know if you're ready properly. Class. Let's see what does it give me here. Yeah, it will basically give me the Fibonacci, the factorial. So it will give you all this information. So you can just play around with it. As I said, we will have a few days to play around it. You can even move that project into your own namespace so you can see what was done. Plus, you have the recording of that. Cool. We are also already getting to the end. How things are going? Hopefully, most of you have managed to get the suggestion. For the ones who didn't, again, you can reach out to our colleagues. You have the Q&A to ask them to see if we can get support on that. I'm going to let you some time to, again, play a little bit around with it. to see all the things that you can find useful. Like as I said, the calculator is one case, but if you have something specific that you want to try to see, feel free to do it. There are a bunch of projects here. We have different languages. If you go to the AI sandbox folder, we had different languages. I believe here is create a calculator class, or is it like I'm mistaken? That specific case is not triggering for some reason. I have to find out why. I will try it later, but for some reason here it's not really triggering the. It's not triggering. It's triggering for the other ones, but not for this one. I will have to double check that. As I said, right now we are still testing it, so but you have this folder here where you can try out all the different languages. I believe that at least one of them is something that you are already using, so feel free to play around it, delete, add, comment, do things here. Cool thing. So what we have done is, first of all, let's review our job. We changed the leaderboard first and get the get specific function to be properly sanitized and not allowing leaks. We have created a new function, which is the delete leaderboard. Then in the app file, we have created a new, let's remove that line. We have created a new endpoint. And we have created a new class, which is the calc.rb. Once we have done that, what we are going to do is to commit those changes. So we go to this, like this source control icon. And we go here. Commit. We have this pop-up, which basically will tell us to go to the merge request. So I'm going to click on it. And now we do have changes. This is the this is the merge request that we have created previously. And you can see that the changes are here. And if we are a bit patient, we will be able to see the result of the pipeline. In the meanwhile, I'm just gonna go to edit, and here I can go summarize code changes. With summary code changes, actually what it does is updates the description to say what we have done previously on our code changes. I'm gonna repeat that. We are in our lovely merge request, and we're gonna go and edit the merge request. And we have this button, which previously I have just clicked and nothing happened, of course, because nothing was changed. So now we can go to summarize code. It will still keep the old one, but now it will append the new. So a new route is added to delete a leader from the leaderboard. A calculator is defined with basic arithmetic operations. The getSpending method is database modeling, basically to improve the security. And a new delete leaderboard method is added. We save changes. And now that's what we have. I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes. Do it. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna open here. I'm gonna give you the chance to ask me any question if you have got stuck or something here before handing that over to my colleague Breno. As I said, this you will have this project available for the next 48 hours, I believe, and you can also freely move this project to your own group or own to your own group or your own account, so nothing will get deleted. If that's not the case, I'm gonna hand it over back to my colleague Breno. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Thank you very much for your patience.
So let's get this back here.
Thank you very much, you two, for your time and your as I said, for listening, for being here, and hopefully in the future we can see each other in one of our like on-site events that we are running around the globe.
Thanks, Adir. That was great. I was following here and everything worked. Very nice. So one of the questions that was in the Q&A is why GitLab Duo costs more than Copilot? Well, simple reason. It is a platform approach rather than a point solution. So in Copilot, you only get code suggestions or code generation. While you notice in GitLab, we do a lot more than that. So I'm going to answer the remaining QA later. But just to get this in context, because I just saw that question, that's important. So we are talking about the whole platform, and that's why I'm actually got this slide really handy here. It is the combination of things. When you're looking, for instance, the code suggestions on the merge request or getting all the functionalities across platform, that makes a huge difference. So it is way beyond what Copilot can do. Because if you think the use case, Copilot is confined to the domains of developers. While GitLab, for instance, when you're looking product owners or product managers, they are looking merge requests, they're doing summaries, they're looking metrics. That's one of the important things when you're looking DORA, when you're looking productivity, that goes away beyond the simple things, especially when you're trying to do predictability, that goes even further. So that's one of the reasons is the wide platform giving a lot more value. So that's one of the reasons, but I'm going to answer these later and try, or at least in the follow-up, that's going to be answered. So the idea here, when you're going on that one, it is more than simple code generation. For companies, it's important to understand where they are today, whether they are already using some form of AI, let's say Copilot or ChatGPT, whatever, or whether they are still getting these on paper. It's important to understand the journey, because just generating code is 25% of the time doesn't work, putting loads of investment is understanding beyond that. That's the important detail here. And that's where GitLab enters the platform play. Whether we're doing the planning, we are doing the issues, the epics, the merge requests, and everything else, up to testing, creating unit tests, and creating everything, that's going to be across the entire development lifecycle. That's where you have people collaborating, sharing ideas, getting security on board, asking security why this is not approved or why my merge request is still pending. So that's where things start getting really up to speed. So having a single source of truth for all the AI in the platform, that's going to leverage what you're trying to achieve. And one of the things is about the output of our work and daily things we do. So when you look AI alone, well, it's going to be more and more important. But still, the idea is not fragmenting. Let's say we start using, for instance, Copilot and then some security scanner and we are starting to apply AI everywhere, the tools pro is going to make things harder than easier, because now we have different AIs playing different things. And then when you try to put everything together, that's going to be far more difficult. So when you have a platform, and if you have everything in a consistent way, think about certifications, for instance, ISO 27001 or SOC compliance, all these important frameworks, they're going to be very important here, because sometimes the auditors come and ask, who did something, let's say, a year ago? Now you need to find out who did it, where it was done, and what was the reason it was done, and what resource was used to do that. So when you have a single platform, you have visibility, you have accountability, traceability, and auditing, and all the compliance, everything is in one place. That's going to be key here for the compliance part. That's why customers love GitLab. They can get everyone together as they are unifying here. The development, the security people that are usually siloed. Think about this scenario. Quite often, and this is traditional model, the developers complete piece of code, get a Jira ticket, throw over the wall, literally, and wait until the security people take action, run the scans, then let's say 2 days in the queue, maybe 1 day if they are lucky, and then security runs the scans, gets the response back on the ticket with some recommendations, put back on the queue, another day, and the developers start taking action. If we start looking all these interactions, the 2 weeks sprint is now confined to a week, because loads of things are stuck in somewhere and the progress is very slow. And that's one of the reasons when you're getting people together, we are actually accelerating even without noticing. It's not only the code itself, it's a whole cycle we are managing here. And it is the freedom we give. You can deploy GitLab everywhere. It's not only thing you can do like on tied to AWS or Azure or whatever. So it's your GitLab. If you like SaaS, great. If you want GitLab dedicated, because it's a, let's say, a bank or insurance company that has regulatory requirements, can be totally isolated from the others, can be geolocated, different from, for instance, GitHub, that's US only, so we give this option. And there are loads of interesting things here in terms of what we are going to do in terms of compliance and deployments. So what you're going to do next? That's going to be interesting, because now we are not only looking the code generation, we are going way beyond that. And the idea now, we are getting the data scientists that are probably the clever people in the room, and they are going to explain how we actually can do things in different ways and how we are going to leverage all this knowledge and experience we are having, because now they are looking across platform productivity, and everything is going to start moving in a different way. So benefits here, we are going to get all the cycles that are sometimes separate or silos. We are going to unify these people and make much faster the deployment and development and collaboration. So that's the wrap up. You did loads of work. It was great. Thanks everyone for participating. It was an exciting journey. As we mentioned in the beginning, so the Tanuki racing, everyone completed laps. I think we lost very, very few people, if any, along the way. So well done. And now it's time to keep what you did, because now we have all the work you can be working on this in the next 2 days. That's going to be important, because you want to keep that, even if you don't have Ultimate license, that's going to be available to you. So you're going now to the course folder and going to the transfer project, and you're going to preserve everything to make sure you are still working on this, having loads of fun and learning more during these 2 days. So please go to the courses transfer project folder and get everything on your workspace and keep having fun. The idea now is to explore capabilities. Now you have time, you have the knowledge to explore further, you have the documentation, and now it's time to find what's going to be next steps. So, what's the benefit here? What everything we did today? We learned how to leverage the code completion and also understanding how to do the summaries, the merge requests, and all the steps along the way. So from the planning phase, you can do that, and that's one of the things in the platform. You can get a request from a product owner, start working on it, you do all the work with AI helping along the way, and now you can use AI tools and collaborate with other people and get this work completed. So GitLab AI is going to help everyone. It's not confined to the development domains.
Yeah, I
Now,
think now it's time to questions, right?
yeah, that's going to be fun.
Questions. Yeah, we're just waiting. I would recommend you to use. Thank you, Lucian. Very good. I was asked exactly to tell you if you can use the Q&A section on Zoom to answer questions. So, Breno, people are saying that thank you very much for your presentation. Very good job. I agree. Thank you very much.
There's one question here from Leandro. Why GitLab Duo more expensive than GitHub Copilot? There's a value
Yeah,
platform.
that's something you have. I think you already answered. That's why I said.
Yeah.
In terms of pricing, also we don't have the tendency to compare one to one. I mean, our approach, as Bernard said, our approach to AI is not about just the code completion. For us, security is one of the most important things that we are really working on, and I would say the investment on that it's key. AI, and I think we have seen that already. It happened to me that code completion is great, but most of the times they have to review what it was created. While, for instance, in security, I'm not really the best on security, and it helps me a lot when it gives me why something is an issue, and not just writing me code that I most likely know how to do it, but it will take me a little bit less time to write it. So in terms of pricing, I don't think we have the answer exactly why is $1, $2, or 10 more expensive or less, but we know the value that our AI is offering. And that's why we have this kind of webinars, and we invite you to try by yourself to see how it works. Sorry, Brenna, you were about to say something.
That's a very timely comment, dear. Thanks for raising that. I'm going to share one screen and challenge some people to see what would be their reaction. Let's suppose you are reviewing code from someone else, and now it's on your shoulders. That's the fun part of it, to approve a merge request. But let's say everyone has done things properly, and now that lands in your queue, and your merge request has all the surprises. That's fun, isn't it? You have some critical vulnerabilities in the codes, and you are the one who is going to approve this in production. Without help of a platform, can be a little bit hot or can delay the entire project. That's the worst part of it. With GitLab, because it's a platform, you have all the information in your fingertips. I think this job is a lot easier. You can just ask the junior developers or whoever's doing that, would you mind to have a look on the report? And they have all these available to them, and then they can go back and start getting one by one using all the tools Idir was showing. And now you have a much easier way to go when you need to approve this merge request. Think about that. Think about how much security can be improved with a single widget like that, how much time can be saved, and also how much embarrassment, because if there's a breach somewhere, well, now it's a branding problem. There are loads of other problems that are going to arise from that. So keep that in mind. It's not only code generation, we go away beyond that.
There is another question, a really good one, Anthony. It says on self-hosted, which component is responsible of running Duo, and what's the impact of the hardware of the host? Keep in mind that the way that we are connecting the self-hosted instances, GitLab instances, to the AI system is via an API. So we are not asking you to run the whole like system in your own premises. So it's like any other API that you're using, but it's basically running with the running against our AI gateway. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and also it's important to remember that's not going to overload your system. The best friend here, I think it was another question in the QA, is going to be your monitoring tools. Can be anything like Elastic, could be Prometheus, Neuretic, Datadog, you name it. And you can actually check the performance impact, which is very, very marginal, if any, actually, apart from the API call itself.
Okay, it says another one. Can AI in GitLab work the security of a big project with thousands of codes?
Well, GitLab itself builds GitLab using our platform, and we have, I don't know, a couple of millions of lines of code, most of them Ruby. Yes, the answer is comfortable, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, let's share another screen that could be interesting when you talk about metrics and things like that. Let me share one. The end goal when you are talking about the work actually we do, that's a goal for lots of companies when you talk about metrics. Because we are talking about monitoring, let's talk about metrics. So when you're using GitLab, you're going to get DORA metrics to help you to understand where do you have bottlenecks. You have value streams as well to find where you're losing time, where the match requests or the issues are sitting forever and there is no action. That's where you're going to have a huge benefit from GitLab. You can get other parts here in these analytics dashboards. That's going to help a lot to understand not only where it is going, but also where you can even get more gains in terms of development, performance, and collaboration in the company.
Cool. I think then if there are no more questions here, then we can just wrap up. Right, Breno?
I think so. I think everything has been answered. And
To me, it was a pleasure again to share the stage with Breno and the people here around us. Thank you very much. It's always nice to learn new things.
thanks, everyone. It was great interaction. And we are going to send a follow-up. And if you have any questions, we are more than happy to answer everything you have later. And hopefully we're going to meet in some events or some more interactive sessions. So it's up to us now to explore this new world.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.